Hey, welcome to Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Lori Mabrey, former Cibola Girls Basketball Coach. And Lori, thanks for coming on. And first of all, thanks a lot for what you've done for sports and for what you've done for ProView Networks, and a lot of thank yous. And I just want to get that right there because it's been it's like losing, like one of my workers, kind of in a deal because of the hospitality you've given ProView Networks over the years.
Oh, thank you, Steve. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, I tell you, what a great run. And we'll probably get to it later, but probably the run's not over. But for right now, what a great run.
Thank you. Cibola, when I took the job, it was a really good position for me, a great place to land as a head coach. I spent 16 years there. I was a longtime assistant. I spent 13 years as a longtime assistant coach. So 29 years just seemed like the right time with COVID to kind of step out and hit the reset button.
Well, what a career, though. You think about it. There's not too many people that, you look at your resume, and it's like, for the state of New Mexico, it can't be written any better. A player that won state championship 3 in a row. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
At Kirtland Central, and then to win a state championship as a coach. I'd like to see how many people have done that, but I'm just saying that's a milestone in itself.
Yeah, I've been blessed. Kirtland Central Girls Basketball in the 80s was a phenomenal place to be able to, call your basketball home. And everything I learned, I pretty much learned from my high school coaches at Kirtland Central, and was able to really kind of employ a lot of the same things at Cibola High School. The difference was I played zone defense when I was a player in high school, and I made it a point to make our kids at Cibola play man-to-man defense. Well,
going back to your days in high school, that was, girls basketball hadn't started that. You were one of the first setting milestones at that time was, if I'm correct, you were one of the front runners in high school girls basketball.
Well, now you're making me feel old.
Well, I didn't mean it as a compliment, but I'm just saying, where I'm going with this is basically you played it, and you played against the competition. And I think I've even told you this, Lori, until, Susan Cibola, yourself, Perea, all these, I wouldn't watch girls basketball. I was just, and then now you can't keep me away from a game. I try to do 1 or 2, a week of girls basketball just because, one, of the talent level and also the enthusiasm that the girls and the hard work everybody puts in.
Yeah, well, New Mexico, first of all, loves its basketball. Whether it's boys or girls, just the state itself is huge basketball fans. I want to say that the first state title in girls basketball was in 1978. I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. And Kirtland won its first in 79 and then started that string of state championships, and I was kind of on the tail end of that in the mid-80s. But I have to tell you, I don't think there's ever going to be a team like Kirtland Central that dominates with 8 or 9 in a row ever again. Girls basketball has come so far in the 29 years that I've been involved. It's just incredible. There's so many teams that have so many talented players at this point in time.
Well, and not only talented players, but coaches. You look at the coaches. I tell you what, they build programs. They've been there. Like yourself. There's not like 3 years in a rotation of coaches. Once they get the job, it's kind of like boys. They stay. They take it very seriously, and also the companionship and camaraderie between all the coaches is. But there's not any better. And I don't know if there's any better in the country.
Sure. And in our district, we're kind of a unique district. The girls won 5A. We had a lot of female coaches in our district with Lisa Villarreal at Volcano Mexico and Susan Cibola out at Cleveland, and then myself in a 5-team district to have 3 female coaches. I don't think there's any other district in the state that had that going either. So me stepping down kind of negates a little bit of that, but I would love to see more women get involved in the girls game. Like I said, there's so many good players that have come out of the state of New Mexico. You've got some up and coming young coaches like Bree Rohde at Pius, who I coached. It would just be fantastic to see more female coaches kind of get involved in the girls game.
Well, not even, I mean, I'll even go one step further, not only in the girls' game, but also in the boys' game. I mean, there's some, sure. You and I have had great basketball, X's and O's and talking about, some things and what little I know about basketball, but I'm just saying I got all my philosophies from, Norm Ellenberger and John Wizard, which I played college ball with, but, and they had success, and I watch teams, and one thing that Ellenberger was what you're so great on is man-to-man defense, and you and I have had some great conversations sitting down, and you actually have listened to some of my philosophies on really how Ellenberger and Wisden had success with that on the higher division
yeah,
level.
And I do love talking basketball, and I in particular like talking about man-to-man defense. Maya's dad and I always have a little tit for tat. He disagrees. I always taught our girls to go under screens. We never fought over at Cibola. He was always big on, he thought our kids, because his daughter played for me at the time, we should fight over screens. But I never did that with our girls. One, because there just wasn't that many girls on a high school girls team that could just shoot the ball. You might have to fight over the screen on one particular kid, but it was kind of rare that you'd have 3 outside shooters. So we always taught our girls to go under the screen, hedge high, fight under. But yeah, I love man-to-man basketball. I think it's very personal. I think it's easy for a coach to make kids take responsibility for their role on the team.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to go to the Dream Style Top 10 Plays of the Week and come back and talk more about Lori Mabrey and her success in high school sports.
Center fielder, Caden Bell on first. Here's the pitch to Heath. Struck him out. And great pitching by Alvarado. That'll do it for the Tigers in the top of the 5th.
A great crowd for a mid-afternoon game. Swing and a miss, and there's a strikeout, number 5 for Matt Romero.
Smith talking to the batter here. That's a, oh, wow. Nice, and that's an out.
What did I tell you? That one's that gets over the head of the right fielder. That's going to bring in 2 runs as Adrian Martinez with the RBI double.
Towards the latter part. Pitch, and that's another way for a single. That's going to score 2. That makes the score 9-0. So RBI double. That's going to make it. That's it. It's 10 runs there.
1-0's a count. And this one's high. It's going deep, and it's going to fall in. He's digging for third, and he gets there. Ezra Mestas with the 3-bagger. He gets the triple, and 2 more runs scored.
Steal to third base.
And he brought the hot sauce for strike 3.
Small ball team for Reed Fiegel this year. That one is hit on the line to left. It's going to send Avila back to the warning track, to the wall, and he's going to watch it go. It's a solo homer off the bat of Bo Kidd. One nothing Eagles. Just when we were talking about small ball, the Eagles play long ball. Good over with 2 outs here. That boy's well hit to left. Coming in on it is Morrison. He drops it, and the Ravens win it.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We got Lori Mabrey, former head girls basketball coach at Cibola High School. And again, I want to say what a great run, and hope it keeps running in the future. So I'm sure there's going to be some people knocking on your door. So, you know, you're going to have that challenge coming up over the next years in your life. But I tell you, you know, kind of reflect on, you know, and it's so hard with the time limit and the time that we have, but just some great moments and some great things and great people that, you know, that really inspired you to do what you're doing or did.
Oh gosh, there's just so many people to thank along the way. I can go all the way back to Kirtland Central, where I landed my first job as an assistant coach, and just being a part of that dynasty and that tradition, and really getting able to be able to learn from what I considered some of the greatest coaches in my life that impacted me. And then kind of fast forward to Rio Rancho High School, and Coach McIntyre, Bobby McIntyre, who happens to be my godfather, just an extreme mentor in my life. He and I visit all the time still. We still talk basketball like you and I do. And then kind of going into Cibola, being able to have former players like Sharon Max on my staff just meant the world to me. I think she's ready to be a head coach. I think she's maybe going to put her name out there in the universe, and I will do what I can do to kind of pay it forward and help her get into the coaching ranks. And just the 16 years that I spent at Cibola were really fulfilling for me, Steve. Like I said, I couldn't have landed a better opportunity for myself. The school and I kind of just meshed as one. Just incredibly blessed to have an amazing run of talent go through that school. My very first year, I got to coach a kid named Sky Barnett, who then went on to play at Pepperdine University. I've had just amazing run of kids, and obviously there's some big names like Amber Battle, who was also on my staff the last 2 years. The 2015 team, just an incredible special group of kids that were really probably destined to win a state title, because they were all really tight-knit and on the same page together. And as you know, winning state is never easy. Getting there is a program, but winning it sometimes takes a whole lot of luck. And that group of kids were just a really special group of kids. And it's kind of hard to reflect back in a couple minutes here, but you built our brand new home, my husband and I's brand new home, and I'm enjoying decorating our home, and I've been able to put together a room of he and I's plaques, and just pulling all that stuff out of the boxes and remembering, oh yeah, that happened, and oh yeah, that happened. It's been kind of bittersweet, to be honest with you. My emotions have been really high, really low. It wasn't an easy decision to come to step down, but looking back on it all, it's been very fulfilling.
Well, I tell you, you know, just from my standpoint, you know, I just loved, like I said, I really got, in the last 7 years, I really got into girls basketball. I mean, like I said, I'm as up on girls basketball as I am in boys basketball. And I don't mean to be that deal, but I tell you, it's, when you see that shot we just saw in Volcano Vista, what she accomplished, and it goes on ESPN, and we get national news for the state of New Mexico, and that's something that moment right there I'll remember forever.
Yes, no doubt. My phone blew up immediately after I announced my resignation. A lot of friends, you can't help but meet a lot of people and get to know a lot of coaches throughout the state. And just some really touching phone calls have happened. And I'm incredibly blessed to be able to say I've been a high school girls basketball coach, especially in the great state of New Mexico, where I think our state tournament and our state championships are probably the #1 draw sporting event in the entire state. And
it's in the country.
Yeah,
in the top, it's top 5. It's probably the top 5 or 6 in the country. I think Chicago's ahead of us, but unbelievable. The fan support and the people that how many people that you don't know that know you just because of who you represent for Cibola and all the people you coach.
And I might be out of coaching for the time being, but I love basketball. It is a passion of mine, and you'll definitely see me around the state tournament, both at boys and girls games. If there's a really high caliber player, you can bet that I'll be, or a high caliber game, either boys or girls, you can bet my husband and I'll be in the stands watching it.
You made a point, about, some of your, high profile athletes. They were at Cibola, but how was your experience talking with college coaches? Was it in your first experience talking with college coaches and having a high profile athlete? How did you handle that?
They're a lot more down to earth than you would think they are. They're simply a coach, just like
you're just human beings.
Yeah, just like us.
They want to win.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Christy Curry is the head women's coach at Alabama. I feel like I could call her a friend. She got my husband and I tickets to a Texas Tech game for football, simply because I asked, and she was actively recruiting Amber at that time. But random New Mexico State, which Buster is a graduate of, was playing Alabama football, and I reached out to her and asked her if it would be possible if she could get us a few tickets for that game, and she came through like a champ. So it's been fun. It's been exciting to get to know those people. But they're just like a high school coach. They enjoy talking basketball as well.
Well, you made this point. I tell you, I know Ed and Sebastian, and they're going to be excited because they're going to have somebody that is going to be fun and a deal if you want to do some little color. If you have time, to do a little color.
Only if I can stand up and stomp my foot along the way on a good play.
Well, I tell you, that's something that is you're welcome to do that anytime you want to. I just want to throw that at you. It's everybody's watching. That'd be so great to have you as a color commentator on not even on girls and boys basketball.
Be careful what you wish for.
Well, I tell you, it's not. I've already thought it through. So I mean, it would with your energy and the effort you put in, it'll be really great. Hey, we're going to go to a little break, and we're going to come back and talk about Lori Mabrey and some accomplishments she's made at Cibola High School.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS Network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're #1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small.
aquarium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We have Lori Mabrey, former Cibola head girls basketball coach, and again, I got to say this again: great run. It's been so entertaining. It's been great. What you've done for ProView Networks and all the hospitality, talking to our coaches before the game and giving us a little insight, making the audience, bringing some insight on the game. I can't put words onto the things of what you have meant to ProView Networks, and it was kind of sad when you announced it, and all the guys going, well, who's going to get the job? What is Cibola going to have a basketball program? But life goes on as we say.
Life goes on.
But let's talk about that. I guess everybody's coaching dream is winning the state championship. And kind of reflect on that, your thoughts going into that. I know every year your expectations. If I'm correct, when you first started, it was just winning your district, and then maybe getting into the state championship, and then just you build your then all of a sudden. Kind of reflect on that moment and how hard it was to get to that moment, and kind of talk about getting back to that moment and not having the success.
Definitely, it was a difficult time to get all the way to that 2015 moment. I remember the very first year we started, we were 14-14. We didn't have a whole lot of talent. We finally got stuff rolling. I feel probably almost as proud of delivering Cibola High School the very first district title that the school had ever won in school history. That's one of the accomplishments that was important to me, and one that I'll definitely remember. But we had a few close calls. We got to the state title game. The group that had Amber Battle's group, they were a 13 seed and kind of shocked everybody and got to the state title game. That was kind of an underachieving group. I thought that they definitely underachieved all year long, and they finally got playing at the end of the year. And just as fate would have it, when you're a 13 seed, you have to travel through all kinds of talent to get to the state championship game, and I felt like that group had enough in them to win. They just had to play too many games that they just didn't quite have the legs to finish it out. But they were certainly a very talented team. But the 2015 team, I said it earlier, was a really special group of kids. I mean, obviously Amaya was the known athlete, but you had a point guard that was quick as lightning, and Caviana Brown, just that girl was a stud. I had a 6'2" big blonde girl inside named Kristen Dirth. We had an unsung hero who really took the second seat to all of those kids, who ended up being the starting goalie at New Mexico State, Dimitri Fong. And then we rounded that group at that starting five out with a girl that's now at Missouri, Corbin Cunningham, who was always good for a double-double. So just an extremely talented team, but I think one of the reasons that group of kids was able to win it all is they were very tight-knit. They had this saying, see house, whose house, see house. So when they won the state title, some of those kids and their families struggled just a little bit monetarily. And it was, again, the first state title in Cibola Girls Basketball history. So it was important to me that we fundraised for the rings for those kids. And so another thing I'm very proud of is I went out in the community, Steve, and we raised $4,000 so that every girl on that team would have a ring that they could remember that by. And anyone who's won a state title knows that you can put whatever you want inside of your ring. And that entire team, Cavi Brown, the low point guard, said, I'm putting C House in mine. And the whole team did it. And it was one of those aha moments in a coach's life, like, that's why this group of kids was able to win the state title. They were that together, even through the ring process.
Well, going back to the year, what's, a lot of changes in the game. What was one of the biggest changes as a coach that that you saw over that period of time while you were coaching?
Oh gosh, I don't know if one's coming directly to my mind. This is gonna sound crazy. I think the biggest and weirdest change I've seen was this season, where they took the jump ball out because of COVID, and they just took it out of bounds to start the game. That was really bizarre to me.
You know what? Did you flip for that? Is that who
No.
I never got a clear answer. So
the away team always got the ball out of bounds. That was the rule. So
Okay.
if you were on the road, you got the ball first. And all of us coaches would laugh and joke about it because as soon as the ball entered, everybody's touching the ball anyway. So it just seemed like one of those really bizarre rules.
Well, I know in overtime, because I saw they were looking for. They actually came in
overtime. They did
because they were looking for
flip a coin.
looking for a coin to see who got it. And I didn't. That's why I brought up the flip of the coin. I just never asked. And I was like, how do they figure out how?
Yeah, I am old enough that in my lifetime I've seen a change in the size of ball. When I was a high school player, we were still playing with the boys' size basketball. And then going into my senior year in high school is when they officially switched over to the girls' size regulation ball. So 1986 is when that change happened, and that was a huge change. And I think that change really helped the girls' game. It helped speed up the girls' game. It helped the girls be able to do some things with a basketball that hadn't been done before. It's definitely changed the women's game. Changes I'd like to see. I'm a shot clock lady. I'd love to see.
I was going to ask that question.
I'd love to see the shot clock be employed. I think it would speed up the game.
Well, I tell you, the word basically with the shot clock is just economics. I mean, that's I think everybody wants the shot clock, and I think that's the biggest thing is basically economics. But Lori, I just want to thank you for coming on the Steve Davis Show. Thank you for all the things you've done, all the players you've coached, all the coaches that you've coached, and all the good things that you've done for the state of New Mexico, for yourself, and also for Cibola High School.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And it's been I'm going to get emotional. It's been a great time. I've loved the kids at Cibola. And for any of you girls from Cibola out there, it's been my pleasure. I love you guys.
Well, we'll hope to see you again.
I hope so, too. We'll see what God has in store for me.